Hello, Scrappy friends. This video you're about to watch is another bring over from my Facebook page. As you know, I do a Borders to Pages series over there, and I'm just bringing them over to YouTube to house them all together in our playlist over here. So I have edited this video down. You may have already seen it, and if you have, I hope this is a good refresher for you. But if you haven't, I hope you enjoy this quick tutorial. Here we go. Hello, Scrappy friends. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Today we are going to work in our series of Borders to Pages. That's what I like to call it. It's when I use the Creative Memories 110 Scrapbooking Border Ideas and Sketchbook. And what I like to do is I like to pick a sketch from the book and recreate the sketch using different tools and different paper. Then I like to take it and turn it right away into a page. Today, we are going to work on this sketch right here on page 53. So here's what it looks like. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change my screen here and pop it up so we can talk about it in a little bit more detail and see it full size. It is a vertical sketch today, but I'm going to be flipping it horizontally, but it was designed originally to be a vertical sketch. And every time I have one of these sketches, I like to kind of figure out what is needed as far as bases, layers, embellishments, things like that, but also what is the technique. I feel like each of the sketches in the book have a different technique. And so in today's sketch, you'll see there that the special technique was using a border making cartridge, and they double punched it on both sides of a strip of paper. So that's what we're going to do today. Or this border has a base layer, and you'll see that they used a fancy blade to give it a little bit extra texture. Then it has a few layers. So it has the layer with the paw prints. And for that paw print, they use what I like to call an inset border making cartridge because it keeps the print or whatever the punch out is, it keeps it inside the paper. So I will be using an inset border cartridge today as well, just a different one. Then there's actually a layer underneath that layer because they backed it with another pattern paper, a third layer, which is just a plain strip of paper running down the middle. Then that last bit could either be a layer or part of the embellishments. It's a border sticker on the top of all the layers, then a beautiful cluster of embellishments. So that's our sketch for today. So I'm going to have you come on back to my desk and show you what I'm going to use. So I'm going to be using the Our Moments collection. The papers, my stickers, my embellishments mostly are coming from the Our Moments collection, except for this gray piece. See, so the base. Now I'm going to do a little bit different than what they did on the blog because I do like mine to be a little bit smaller. So whenever I can save a 1/4 of an inch or anything, I reduce it when I can. So I'm going to do a 3 1/4 inch cut by 12 inches for the base. And you know what? I am going to change my blade. So I'm going to use the decal blade. I love that. So I'm going to just take off a little bit of a waste piece here at the edge, just to give it that little bit of texture. You can see that already. I'm going to change back to my straight blade because I don't want both edges to be decorative like they have in the inspiration. So there's this vertical, and I'm changing mine horizontal, and it is going to be at the top of my page. So I want the top to be a straight cut. Okay, so we're going to go 3 1/4. There we go. Now the next piece that we come to is the first layer, which for me, it's where they use the paw prints. And for me, I'm going to be using the Bats and Stars border making cartridge, and I'm going to just trim off a piece of this. I'm going to try and follow along the way they recommended it in the blog posting. So here, this layer is going to be 2 1/2 inches by 12 inches. So yeah, I'm going to use the Bats and Stars border making cartridge today. It's not going to be a Halloween page, but this will all come together here in a minute. So I'm just going to punch one whole row out, and kind of hold tight because you probably saw this is a really small piece of paper, and I have just enough play. I don't have to add any extensions or anything to hold it in there. You probably have seen me do the Post-it notes before, but I think I have enough in here. So this order making cartridge came out last year, and it's super cute. Look at how cute the bats on the other side with that darker gray. Those came out cute. But it has super cute bats and little stars. We turn it around to do the other side. So here's where mine's going to get a little bit different, because what they did in the sketch was they just laid it right there on top and then decorated right down the center. But on the pop, or that one's called animal print that they used, the prints were going the same way. So the paw print was going up in both sides. But when I did my bats, you'll see that I have bats flying up at the top and then bats flying down at the bottom. And for what I'm doing today, I want to kind of trim those apart so that all my bats are flying the same direction, all the same direction. So I'm going to cut this right in half. It was a 2.5 inch strip, so I'm going to do 1 1/4 inches. It like this, and then turn it around so that all the bats are flying the same way. Actually, this paper is not going to be black. I'm going to use the polka dot side on the other side. So you'll see you can't see the bats that well. And this is where the next layer comes in, which is the black. This is our second layer. It's going to go behind our bats. And this one is measured at, I believe it was 3 inches. It's 2 3/4 inches. I wrote 3 on there, but probably the one on the blog did. And I'm going to adhere it so that my bats, I want my bats to be black. Okay, and I'm going to leave a little space in between to continue to decorate, but there, now we have all my bats are black and they're all flying the right direction. So it's going to go like this. So just a little bit of the polka dots will be showing through. I just did that to give it a little more texture. And because the polka dots with my collection, I feel like it's all going to coordinate together. So I am going to bring in, this was just a scrap I had. It's a 1/2 inch by 12 inches. And I'm putting going to put this right down the center. And I'm doing that just to give it a little pop of color. So far I have my base, my layer with the bats, the black behind the bats counts as a layer, and then the one in the center as the third layer. Now to decorate, I'm going to bring back in those border stickers, and these are the ones I have left from this collection, and I liked this maroon. And like I said, I just want to bring in a little bit of color, and then this is just going to go right down the center. Okay, and now for my embellishments and my title. So they've had their title inside the inspiration. I like that. I love doing that on my borders because it gives us a place for our title. Sometimes I'll even put my journaling spot in my border. Since we're taking all this time to create it, I might as well add my title as well. Now my photos today are, and I don't have a lot of photos for this this page, so that's why it's only going to be a 1-page spread. But when we went to Texas a couple years ago, this was in Austin. This is called the Bat Bridge. And what happens is, I guess bats come and migrate there every year for several months. And right as it's becoming dusk and the sun is going down, you can see this is when we first got there. Very few people at the top, but then as it got darker, more and more people showed up. But then all of a sudden, it's a little bit on the creepy side, the bats just start flying out. If you go online and you look this up, you're going to see a million bats, and they say there's a million bats living in that bridge underneath this overpass, like all day long. And then at night they fly out to go hunt for food, and then they come back, I guess sporadically at the early morning hours. But yeah, so it's kind of like phenomenal when they all start flying out, and it's like 1 or 2 come out at a time, and then pretty soon there's a lot. But it was so pitch dark by then, I didn't get any good photos. So but I did want to document this story because that was something totally different that we've never done before. I explained all that because I'm going to put my title, and I just pre-make my title. It's going to be very, very generic. So I'm going to use this little circle I cut out with my die cut machine. It's that paper that I used that I liked so much. and I just made a circle. I was thinking of more like a moon shape because of all the bats. And I'm just going to put that right there, and then my title is going to say Bat Bridge, Austin, Texas. And I have a couple other things I want to bring in. I probably will pop the bat bridge up onto some foam tape. Then I just had this little die cut hanging around from this collection. So I thought I want to bring in that paper. I'm going to bring it in a second time. You'll see here when I get to making the page. So I thought I would tuck that there. Now this sticker came from the sticker sheet for the Our Moments collection. I don't want it to say you and me, but I do want that just to be tucked in there, just to have a little bit of those leaves, because you'll see we were in a park. There's lots of trees around, even though it's smack down in the middle of the city. There is a little park there and a very nice jogging trail, I have to say. Right there, lots of people out taking advantage of that jogging trail when we were there. Just gonna layer it off to the side of my other circle. And I want this one offset a little bit. And I have one little heart that I'm gonna put in here just to get a little bit more yellow. And I'm gonna put this right up here, I think. Yeah, it wasn't as creepy as it probably sounds, but it is a little bit like the build up to it. So we went and we had like this picnic, and we were sitting out there just waiting for all these bats to come flying out. Okay, there's my rendition of that border. Looks completely different, but I used the same techniques. I used an inset border punch. I'm just taking their idea and making it fit for my story. So this was the last big sheet I had left, and you can see it's not even a full 12 by 12. I brought this white sheet in. I was thinking of wallpapering, but I don't think I'm going to need it. So I'll change that to my mat so I can line it up. So what is this one? This one is about a 10.5-inch piece of paper, not bad. And then I'm going to take my border and place it right up here at the top. And that's why I wanted a straight cut across the top, but still did the fancy cut here. You can barely see it, but it adds just the tiny amount of texture. And that's the fun thing about the blades, right? It's not going to be very predominant, but it adds just a little bit of extra texture. And now I'm going to bring in the photos, and this one's my favorite photo, so I kind of want it toward the top, and it's very just clear. That's actually a street light, even though it kind of looks like the moon a little bit, but it wasn't quite that dark. I've already trimmed these, and so my journaling box. So I have my title, and I'm bringing in this old vintage Creative Memories journaling card, and I'm going to put it like that. So very basic layout. Remember, when we spend all our time creating a border, we spend less time with our page. That's my opinion. And I want to bring in a piece of layering. This again is just a scrap from the collection. This is the last piece of brown I had, so I had to really figure out how I was going to use it and maximize it. So what I wanted to do is just to bring in a little bit more layer and depth to this layout. So I'm going to bring it down here. I liked both sides of this paper, but I think this one is a little bit, it's that wood grain that gives us that outdoor feeling for my story. And then I did not have enough to go all the way across, so I'm just going to make sure that this photo is completely matted, and then my journaling box will go right here and kind of go off the edge of that layer. And now the only thing I have left to do is a little bit more embellishing. I want, like I said, I don't need to focus too much more on embellishing because I have the border up here, and the bats tell a lot about my story. And I have a nice big journaling box here. So the only thing I want to do is cover up this part, although I thought it was pretty good that it had a star, but I'm going to cover that up. So I worked really hard at looking at these embellishments from that I had left from the collection, because I was determined I want to use this collection and get everything used that I possibly could. So the first thing I found was this clock, and why that is so important is because I feel like it kind of tells the story about how it has to become a certain time of day that the bats come flying out. Okay, everybody, we got there early, had a picnic, but we were waiting until the sun went down until they started coming out. So the time is probably not correct because I know it wasn't 10 p.m. when they came flying out, but it still tells my story. And then this was a sticker on the sticker sheet. Again, I kind of added a little bit up here So I thought, why not? We're outdoors, and it's not like a super, it's, you know, black and white, so I think it's pretty good. But I am going to bring in a little yellow one as well. And I'm going to tuck that in here somewhere like that. There we go. And then I liked this little sticker from the sticker sheet. And I'm going to tuck this one probably right down here. Now I don't necessarily want the word love. I just wanted to cover that up. So I had this little word sticker, and my idea is to just put it over the top like that and tuck it in. Although, now that I have it on here, we could say, love these moments. I could say that. I like that. And I'm going to pop this up onto a little piece of foam. Yeah, so it kind of pops up a little bit. Yeah, that's cute. Love these moments. Yeah, because it was a small little event on this trip, nothing major, but it was still fun hanging out with our friends and seeing that experience. And they're not there all year long. They just migrate here. I believe they come from Mexico and migrate here or there for several months out of the year. And then the last thing I pulled in from my stash, I just had to go into my Halloween stuff and pull out this big bat, and I'm gonna have it flying right over here. I don't think I'm gonna pop that up. I think I just want it kind of like, you kind of have to, like an I Spy. You have to see it, you know, you have to find it without it being jumping out right at you. So I thought I had to, and I had this perfect bat in my stash, so why not? So there we go. That's my layout for today, and that's my idea of how to use this border. And I hope that you guys give this a try. Look at the border book. Like I said, I attached it, the original blog post in the description above. So take a look and look around the blog, because there are so many wonderful ideas there. Okay, well, thank you for joining me, everybody. I really appreciate your time. Come back next week and see what we're gonna do. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.